Good morning, everybody. Kind of a bit of a chilly Tuesday start. Welcome to Care Talks today. So today I'm going to be going over SMART goals. And I'm going to try to keep this video short for you so that you guys can get some of that extra work done if you need to for your classes. So when we talk about SMART goals, what are we thinking, right? First off, I know a lot of people are probably like, Ashlyn, I know what a goal is. Like a goal is something you set for yourself to reach, right? Like that's what a goal is. But a SMART goal is a little something different. Sometimes you need to take those goals and you got to break them down, right? We might break them down into short-term and long-term. We might break them down into easier to obtain and more challenging to obtain. And so all these different levels, these different types of goals, we need to have a way to organize them. And so that's where SMART goals comes in. So what are SMART goals, right? What does SMART goals even stand for? Well, SMART goals, beautiful, here it is. SMART goals stands for specific, measurable, obtainable, relevant, and time frame. And I'm going to do a quick breakdown of what all these are for you guys to help kind of make a little bit more sense and to help you start thinking about your SMART goals. So the first one, specific, right? So when we're thinking of a goal, like for me, for example, my goal, long-term goal, my long-term end goal is to have a house, right? I've got a dog, she's my world, and I want to give her a yard. So that's my long-term goal, right? But I'm sure I could make that a little bit more specific. So the more that you're able to kind of narrow that goal, not that there's anything wrong having broad goals, that's great. But sometimes you have to say, okay, which of these goals am I going to pick to work on toward that broader, that bigger goal, right? So kind of like that bigger picture. So here we're wanting to break it down. So, okay, so first I can't get a house right now, so I can get into an apartment. So my goal is to have enough money to save up or to be working enough to have an apartment. And then maybe you go from an apartment to a duplex or a rental house, right? And over time with your career, as you get there, you move on to a house. So think about these goals as they relate not only to your academics, but also to your future, right? What is think of a specific goal that you want to accomplish. It could be the goal of getting better grades in your class or working harder this semester to get a better GPA, right? And so when you're able to find a goal that's a lot more specific, you're going to be able to tailor some of those other things that we talk about, the measurable, obtainable, relevant, and the time-based. And those will all make sense. So as we go through. So pick a goal. Let's go with getting better grades this semester, right? I think we can all relate to having a semester or two that was just kind of a struggle or just a rough one for us, right? So our specific goal is to get better grades and to get a GPA, and maybe specifically in this one class that we're really having an issue with, right? This one class is it's just really kicking our butts. So even more specific, overall, we want to get good grades, better GPA this semester. More specifically, we really want to try to see what we can do for this class because all of our other classes are doing okay, but man, this one's a tough one. So the next step after you have your goal, and remember, try to keep it narrow. Once you have your goal, you have to have a way to measure it. And now, why would you think that, right? Sometimes we think a goal is just something we have set that we look toward, that we say, okay, I'm striving for that. But how do you know if you're making progress? How do you know if you're reaching that goal? That's where these measurable strengths come in. So for example, if you are wanting to get better grades and improve that GPA in that class, you can literally measure that by how well you do on tests, how well you do, your midterm grade is, and how well your grade is at the end of semester. So maybe you can literally see your progress going from, okay, maybe it's a shaky low C, and you work it up into midterms, you're like, oh man, I got it to a B. That's great. That's measurable. You can see that impact that you're studying, that your routine, that your self-care, all of these different things that you're helping to take care of yourself. You can see how all of that is affecting your goal that you're reaching for. So then you get to your midterm and you're like, all right, I've got a B. So now you've gotten some of those tools, those good study habits, reaching out to success coaches, reaching out to CAPS if you need to, because we all know stress, depression, we can feel overwhelmed, seasonal depression's hitting, it's getting darker sooner. All these different things, taking care of yourself has made you reach this goal of having a B. So now we have to continue that. And that might mean that we have to put in just a little bit more elbow grease as the semester goes on. And then, again, our next test, we can see how we did. And if the test struggles, then we know that we can, we have to study a little bit harder, or we have something to change. So having a specific goal that you're able to measure really allows you to kind of see where you're at. And are you meeting those goals? Do you need to try a little harder in certain areas? Maybe you're doing great on the studying, but you're not doing the best on self-care. And so you need to up that. So it also allows you to see where you need to improve in that goal setting and in those specific areas, so that you know that you're reaching what your goal is. Next is obtainable. So not that there's anything wrong with saying that you want to become a doctor or that you want to get a house, right? But those are really big long-term goals. Not that they're not obtainable, but they're definitely not going to be obtainable ASAP. And they may not be obtainable in 4 years. That might be a goal that really is a longer term goal that's like, okay, I got to get my career, and I got to get myself established and financially secure. There's a lot that goes into that. So try to pick a goal that is specific to the semester, specific for you right now, both a short-term and a long-term goal. Figure out ways that you can measure, that you can see the improvements that you're making, so you know where you're making progress and you know where you need some assistance. And then make sure it's obtainable. Nothing is more rewarding than reaching your goal, than setting something for you to do and going, yes, I made it, right? You made it to the top of that mountain. That's awesome. And so you want to make sure that you have goals that you can reach, both realistically, both personally, right? My dog came in to say hi there. Both personally and just to make sure that you obtain it, So for example, me having the goal of a house, yeah, that's a long-term goal, but that's not something that I'm like die hard holding on to, because is it obtainable? Yes, in the future, but not at this moment. So what is obtainable? Well, I've got an apartment, making sure I take care of that, right? Making sure I'm keeping my living spaces clean, my environment clean, making sure I'm taking care of myself, making sure I'm taking care of my dog, right? Because a house has more utilities, there's a little bit more payment. I might have other things that I have to take care of, bigger space, lawn care, so many different factors, right? So make sure that your goal is obtainable, regardless where it is in that stage. You want to make sure that you can pat yourself on the back and say, I reached this goal and on to the next one. That leads us into relevant goals. So again, nothing wrong with having a house in the future, right? But if you're at your academics right now, you're this freshman year, what's a more relevant goal? Probably improving GPA, probably improving your self-care and your mental health, making sure you're learning to take care of yourself, especially during COVID and these new times, taking that responsibility, right? And taking care of you. Definitely getting good grades. Maybe you want to try to study more. Maybe you want to try to exercise more, right? So make sure you're picking a goal that is relevant for you and also relevant for what's going on in your life currently. So if you're in school right now, my dog's being very needy. If you're in school right now, find a goal that is specific and relevant to you while you're doing schoolwork, while you're pursuing your degree and your academics, right? If you're living on your own, see about doing something that is relevant to you taking care of yourself and where you live, right? And gaining more of that independence. And that kind of leads us in again to that kind of time-based. So the last kind of point there is time-based goals. And that kind of takes all of them together. You're specific, you're measurable, you're obtainable, you're relevant, and have it be time-based. Again, nothing wrong with having those lifetime goals. A house, a doctor, traveling the world, right? Starting a family. Those are wonderful goals. Those are long-term goals. And the time base for those goals could be a few years, right? And so make sure, first of all, you can have several goals, more than one, and you can have many different types of goals. So you can have a long-term goal and say, all right, someday I'm gonna get a house, I'm gonna start a family, I'm gonna travel the world. But what are some goals that you need to set before you can get there, right? Taking care of yourself, getting your degree, making it through college, right? Finding yourself a job, pinpointing what it is that you like or don't like about things, discovering yourself. So there are so many other goals that you need to reach before that main one. And so as you're thinking about your goals for this semester and for this year, maybe pick some that are short term that you know, okay, I can measure these and I can tell where I'm at midterm and at the end of the semester. And then pick longer term ones. Okay, so I know that I need to complete a whole year, right? So you got through one semester, you got through 2 semesters, that's one whole year of college down. That's great, that's a great goal, and that's a bit of a longer term one. Still obtainable, still relevant, and still measurable, right? But it's also time-based so that you know this goal is going to take you a little bit more, right? It's going to take you just a little bit more to reach it. And so make sure that you're giving yourself some small ones too. Make sure that you have some goals that you can just reach and reward yourself for reaching those goals. Something that might help you kind of figure out, well, what is it that I want? What is it that I'm striving for? What is it that's keeping that motivation? Because even with a goal, regardless whether it's big or small, motivation might be an issue. So something really cool that I recently did was created a vision board for myself. And typically, we think of vision boards kind of like a collage and it's in person, but I actually created a digital one, and it's so cool because first of all, you can use pictures from anywhere to give you inspiration, even your own, but also you can take that vision board, you can put your goals, you can put things you want to improve on, you can put your strengths on there, and then you can take that and you can make it a screensaver for your computer. Make it a screensaver for your phone so that you're always seeing it, you're always reminded, and you're always realizing what you're striving for, what's keeping you going, what's your motivation. And so figure out your goal, plan that SMART goal. What is it that you're looking at, right? Pick out something specific, narrow it down, make sure it's measurable, make sure that you can see the results as you go, both for short-term and long-term. Make sure your goal's obtainable, right? Make sure that you can say, yes, I completed this goal and I made it here. You don't want to have a goal that you know is going to take you 3 or 4 years to get to before you even get anywhere, right? Try to figure out goals that you can reach right now. Make them relevant. Figure out what's going on with you. Academics, personal life, family, relationship, your environment, right? Make sure that it's relevant to you so that you can know that you'll stick to it and that you'll meet that goal. And then make sure it's time-based. Look at those times, right? Say, okay, how long is it going to take me to reach this? And what's a good amount? What's a good amount of time to work on it? Now, goals can be flexible. Vision boards can be flexible. So it's okay to have your goals change and, you add things, you take away things. That's how it goes, right? So make sure that you're really looking at yourself and finding ways to help keep you motivated. And try out the vision board. See about creating something, getting that creativity and say, all right, what can I give myself that's a visual reminder? Or maybe a quote that you really love. My bathroom is actually covered with sticky notes of just things to keep me going. Some of it's goals, some of it's inspirational things, some of it's just self-care reminders. So figure out what gets you going and what's your motivator. So remember, SMART goals. Make sure to check out on Blackboard you're in the assignments folder because there's lots of different things to help pinpoint what your SMART goal is. That will just kind of help you narrow it down. And also make sure to pay attention to this Thursday's this Thursday's Chakra Strong Resilience. You'll want to make sure to tune in to Tara. It will be this Thursday, I believe at 4:30. And so you'll want to definitely tune in for that. And, keep it going. Keep those goals strong. Keep that motivation alive and don't give up. The next topic we're going to talk about is physical activity and meditation, which is kind of going to bring it back down and kind of help center yourself a little bit in this too. Also, if you have any questions about goal setting, any questions about, what is a good specific goal and what's not, or how are all these, different aspects of the SMART goals, how do I apply them? Talk in the discussion boards, bounce ideas off of other people, and don't hesitate to reach out to Tara or to Care Team. We are more than happy to talk to you about your goals and help you to find something that you can use to help move yourself forward. So work on your SMART goals, find that motivation, create that vision board, and keep trying your best. You guys are so close to the end of semester, and I know you guys can do it. Take care.